Hey, hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris. Every day I do a vlog and I'm doing one for 1,000 days. Yep, 1,000 days. So if you're not subscribed, a subscribe would be awesome. And every day I talk about something uniquely different. And today I'm talking about there are areas of our lives where we are not happy. And how we go about changing those areas of our lives are challenging, and sometimes we just accept them for the misery that they are and we just carry on, don't we? But sometimes fate throws a curveball and you can maybe make that change, and making that change is challenging. Change is challenging. Doing something different other than what you've always done is never easy. It's uncomfortable. Change can be very, very difficult for people. It's having a constant in your life, feeling settled, feeling like we have this conformity, uniformity to our lives where nothing shakes it up. But the one thing I know about life is chaos. It really is. You can have a chaotic period in your life and then get back to peace, or you might be one of the lucky few who've had an awful lot of peace in your life and never had very much chaos. Now, if you've had that, I might suggest you've probably not taken any risk in your life. Change is inevitable, though. I really believe that you can sit somewhere for a while, you can stay there for a little while, but change can happen all of a sudden overnight without you even thinking about it or lifting a finger. It can mean you losing a job. It can mean you gaining a job somewhere else and meeting somebody new. It could mean you having an accident. It could mean you ending up in hospital for a period, losing your independence, your mobility. Anything could happen. Absolutely anything could happen. Change is inevitable in life. And I think we're most vulnerable to it when we are older. Our health can play a part. Our ability to have friendships, connections. I think as we get older, we kind of narrow our view a little bit, where we like what we like, don't we? And if somebody interferes with that, well, they can just stay outside. We don't want that. They can just stay over there. I'm here. Just leave me alone. I know what I like. That's the older person sort of view. I can say that. I'm an older person now. But change, and when it comes knocking, can be rather unpleasant. It can force you to do things you don't like doing, but do it you must, because you must survive. You've got to overcome the challenges that have beset you. By overcoming them, you grow as a person, and by growing, you develop. Now, it doesn't always mean that you'll end up in a better place. It doesn't always mean that things will be even better for you. But they'll just be different. They really will. You'll be okay. You've survived this far, and more than likely you will survive for another countless future, for years ahead. Who knows? But you more than likely will. Because you don't get to this age and realise that you don't have something about you. And because you've got something about you, you've got the ability to be able to see it through, to weather the storm. But change isn't easy, I accept that. Having it thrust upon you isn't nice. Doing something different in your life, other than what you've always done, well, it's a learning process. You've got to accept to yourself that the changes that are upon you now won't always feel alien. I mean, look, for example, do you remember the first time you started your job? It was alien to you. You didn't know anybody in the office or wherever you worked. You had to get used to processes. You had to get used to the IT side of it. You had to get used to communicating in a certain way, which was conducive to the environment that you worked in. You had to get an understanding of the processes and the people and how it all worked. And you probably didn't realize this, but incrementally, over time, you assimilated into the business process and you became used to doing that role. And I think that's atypical of life. I think you do that in life, and we've all learned that skill. We've had to. It can mean us experiencing that from leaving your mum as a child and going to school, to kindergarten. We get used to developing our skills and communicating with other people. We get used to constant change. And whilst we don't think that we have an awful lot of change in our lives, the subtle changes are there if you really look for them. Sometimes shaking it up though and doing it yourself, not letting fate take a hold and changing it for you. Sometimes taking the reins and deciding to do something different, well, that takes a bit of guts. Making that change yourself, well, that can be for a lot of reasons. It may be that personally you're not happy. It may mean that you've had enough of doing what you're doing. It could mean that I'm going to change jobs because I don't feel valued. It may mean that I'm going to change this relationship. I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to stay on my own for a while because that's what I want to do. It could mean that I want to go off travelling. I want to experience more of the world. I want to experience more of this life before it becomes almost, too difficult, or for any reason, whatever it is. Change sometimes is good. It all depends on your perspective of that. If you view it as something pernicious and horrible, chances are you're going to feel that. Even if it's thrust upon you, you could view it as an opportunity. You could view that change, that's something that's happening to you, as an opportunity to live your life and do something completely different. And if you view it in a more positive light, in spite of the negative feelings that you might have, it might just actually turn out okay. And when it turns out okay, it's never as bad as we fear it would be. Sometimes fear gets in the way of change. Our feelings of emotional turmoil whenever something is thrust upon us, we catastrophize. I think that probably harks back to when we were living in caves and we had to think of the worst case scenario. And thinking the worst case scenario is sometimes it equips you for being successful because you're anticipating the worst thing, the worst outcome. But sometimes it can draw against you. It's very much a balance. Try and draw hope and positivity from change if you can. And in doing that, I think the chances of you surviving it and overcoming it and being more positive with it is helpful to you in moving forward. I do enjoy having a varied life and a lifestyle. So maybe my change that I've experienced recently, I've come out of a long-term relationship last year. I've moved home. I've still stayed in my current role, which I absolutely enjoy. And I am meeting new people. So there's a lot of change there for me. And I'm just rolling with it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just rolling with the punches. And by doing that, by saying to yourself, that it's okay, it's so much easier. So much easier than fighting it. If you fight it, there's friction. And friction is something that you don't want in your life. Not if you can help it. Try and avoid the friction. Sometimes, some people would say it's like God's got a master plan for you. It's already mapped out. And if it's already mapped out, then maybe your life and the choices that you make now are just a way of evolving God's plan. But you've got to do what's best for you. So don't fear change. I've had a lot. I've had an awful lot the last year. But I'm still loving life. And I still enjoy being alive and being happy. So if you're experiencing something similar or an awful lot of upheaval and change, just roll with it. It'll level out in a minute. And you know what? You look back and you'll think, gosh, I'm in such a better place. And you can only really do that with hindsight. So try not to fear the change. Just roll with it. I'd be interested to hear what your comments are below. If you're experiencing change at the moment, if you're having an awful lot of change sort of thrust upon you, or if you're deciding to change your own life. Maybe you're tired of it and you want to live in a different way or in a different place or with different people. I'd be interested to read your comments. But don't fear change. Change is okay. Anyway, that's enough from me today. Thank you so much. This is part of my 1000-day vlog series. If you're not subscribed, a subscribe would be awesome. And I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. As always, thank you so much. I'll see you then. Bye now.